Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 366.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode of the Big Blue Box. Hope you're all keeping well and safe. We hope you've had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Oh,
Got you again. Gotcha again.
Gotcha.
Welcome, everyone. We've got some news to talk about in this one.
News. News.
I know, right? That thing.
Gosh.
That thing that we used to do. That little segment where we informed all of our listeners around the world of Doctor Who and what's happening. So it feels weird.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So, yeah, we've got a couple of bits of news to go through, all related to upcoming new Doctor Who stuff next year and beyond. So we're going to get onto that. And then we're on to our review of... We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of Torchwood Miracle Day. So this is episode...
7, I think.
7 of 10?
I think it's 7.
Yeah.
7. So we've got 2 left. Oh, no, hang on.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Isn't it episode...
Oh, gosh.
I can't
The thing is, because we couldn't record last week, it's now 2 weeks since I've watched it, and it's the 8th episode. Yeah, oh, thank goodness for that. We've only got 2 left. I thought, for 1 second, we'd got 3 left. But no, this is the 8th episode of Torchwood Miracle Day. End of the road, yeah.
End of the road, that's it. Number 8.
Phew!
Yeah.
I can hear our listeners breathing out a big sigh of relief.
So we got that. And yes, so that's going to be cool. But... dude, I hope you're feeling okay. So Adam's got a bit of a... he's got the man
flu.
old
man flu.
Yeah, he's got the old man flu. So no sympathy from me, of course.
No.
Just needs to crack on. It's his own fault because let's go straight into the what you've been up to. That's why you've got a cold. So tell us why you've got a cold, dude.
It's really annoying actually because I keep trying to stifle the tickly cough so that I'm not coughing all the way through this podcast, but it's actually making it worse. So I'm trying to hold it back, trying to fight back like regeneration. I'm trying to hold back the tickly cough. Yes, it is. Well, it is my own fault because I went to London Comic Con Winter. The Olympia on Sunday, and it was pretty busy. A lot of cool cosplayers. The winter ones are often a lot quieter with guests, so there weren't that many guests this time, but the guests they did have were fairly big in terms of Doctor Who. So Matt Smith was there on the Saturday. I wasn't there on the Saturday. I only went on the Sunday, but I saw the pictures of him in the photo studio. He looks such a dude. I love Matt. Did you see the pics, mate? He's got like long hair and he had this sort of denim jacket. He looked like a rocker. He looks so cool. I would love to have got a picture with him there, but I got one years ago, so I can't pay for another one. But my main reason for going, as long-time listeners will know, David Tennant is the only Doctor that's still with us that I've never met. And Gary was with me. Now, how many years ago was this? About 2 or 3?
3
4
years
maybe,
ago.
gosh.
3 years, 4 years ago.
Probably 4. We were at LFCC, and it was the year that they had pretty much all the new Doctors. So I think it was Eccleston's first UK convention. They had Matt was there. They had Capaldi, and then on the day we were there on the Saturday. They announced David Tennant on the day at the event.
Oh, the last minute. Yeah.
He was like a last minute addition, and everyone raced on their phones to try and buy a ticket. We're all there trying to get a ticket. So I was like, oh my God, we're all going to get to meet all the Doctors in one day, because it was, on the Sunday. And sadly, when I missed out, I just could not get a ticket, could I, mate? It's just, and all I could hear around me was people like, yes, got one. I was like, you got one? Okay, I'll keep trying, I'll keep refreshing, man. I'll get one in a minute. I never got one. And it stung bad, didn't it, dude? We were down the pub afterwards, everyone was looking at their pictures of Tennant, and I'm like, yeah, but I met Chris, and I met Matt and I met Capaldi. They're like, yeah, we don't care. We've all met Tennant. I'm like, oh, you. So for all these years, I've been like, oh, I've got to meet Tennant because my photo frame's just got a gap where he should be. I've got all the doctors in it, but no Tennant. And obviously, you know, he is the best doctor. He is such a popular doctor, and I do love him. I mean, Matt's my favourite, but you know, I didn't tell him that, obviously. So yes, long story short, Tennant was announced in advance this time. We had good warning that he was going to be there because he's doing a play in London, and I was like, he wasn't cheap, but I was like, right, I'm going to book him. I'm not going to miss out again. Because he was so expensive, he was the only person I was planning to meet. And yes, I got to meet him. I got a photo. It was, as you know, Gary, and anyone who's been to these events knows, in the photo studio, it's over in a blink of an eye. You don't really get to meet. Well, you do get to meet them, but you don't really get to talk to them or anything. It's literally you stand next to them, photo next, stand next to them, photo next. They rattle you through like cattle, quite frankly. And this year was particularly fast. So I ended up having 2 photo shoots. I also met Jodie Whittaker, who was absolutely lovely. So I got photos of both of them, and that's all I did all weekend was those 2 photo shoots, which was nice because it gave me a chance to just walk around the event and chat to people. So it was quite good. But yeah, this year, mate, I mean, they're normally quick anyway, but trust me, I didn't even blink. Don't blink. When I met them, before my photo had been taken, it was so quick. And I think if you do want to actually talk to the guests, the only way you're going to do it is to buy like a 250 diamond pass and get the autograph included so you can actually meet them at the table. But I think even then you probably only get a couple of minutes at the most. I mean, I've never bought a diamond pass, so I don't know how it works, but yeah, so I finally filled that gap, dude. Finally got Tennant, and it was a great pick. I'm really chuffed, and Jodie was lovely. Looked like she was having a great time, so it was a really good day. But the downside is I now have picked up a really bad cold, and I bet we're almost certainly got it from there.
Of course, yeah.
I did a COVID test yesterday just to see if, I thought, I bet it's COVID, but no, I look like I'm clear at the minute, so it's probably just the old man flu. But it was worth it, dude. I could just lie in bed feeling sorry for myself, but I can stare up at the picture of David that I got. So
nice.
Yeah. So you got me on the bed full of a cold, my wallet to the side of me crying, whimpering, and then just a picture of David on the wall. So that's been my life for the last few days.
Fun times though, dude.
Fun times, mate.
Yeah, there were some really good guests actually at the at this one. So you mentioned Matt Smith and the new doctors, David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker and everything. That was really cool. But they also had quite a few people from the new Star Wars Andor series there as well.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. So I wouldn't have minded. To be honest with you, this one completely slipped my it was out of my vision. It was in a periphery, this one. I knew that the event was coming up, but I just hadn't looked on the website for ages or looked at anything. It would have been cool. They had some Stranger Things peeps there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was not a bad lineup this year. I quite like the winter ones because they are a bit quieter. Although, it was when I first walked in, it was really busy with people. I thought, this is because when we went that year, actually it may have been the summer one. No, not the summer. What's the other one they do? There's another one they do which
Spring.
is slightly spring.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember me and you saying that was the best because they had a couple of nice little guests, but it wasn't busy and all that. But when I first walked in the door, it was there's a lot of people about. And I was a bit like, ooh. But yeah, they had some good guests. I also met Carvanista, Craig Ells. I was trying to think of his name. Craig Ells, he played Carvanista.
Oh, yeah.
And he was also the main Sea Devil in Legends of the Sea Devil, and he was just such a really friendly bloke. Sadly I could not afford any autographs at all. I was going to get a couple of autographs. I was going to get him, but I decided to put the money towards Jodie's photo shoot in the end, so I didn't get any autographs at all. But my friend just said, could my mate get a picture of you? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. He was really, really lovely, very tall guy, but a special shout out to him because he just seemed to be really enjoying meeting the fans and chatting and stuff. So yeah, hopefully it'll be another event and I can get his auto when I've got a bit more money because he was a real dude.
A proper dude. Yeah, nice.
He was a dude, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So we also had the classic peeps who are on the circuit without fail.
Mustn't forget them.
Yeah, Colin Baker, McCoy. Who else was there? Katie Manning, Bonnie Langford. Yeah, all doing the thing as they normally do.
And apparently, Bonnie Langford wore her top that she wore in Power of the Daleks. So she had her I don't know if you remember, she was wearing sort of very, I think it's orange or red coloured sort of top. And she was wearing that, which was quite nice because everyone was like, look, she's, when they were sat round in the sort of like, well, looked like an AA meeting, didn't it? At the end scene with like all the other companions, she was wearing that same top, and she even put her little name badge on saying Mel. So that was quite nice. I mean, I didn't get to see it, but I saw other people's photos, so that was lovely of her. She's
cool.
great anyway. I've met her before. She's lovely.
Yeah, she's lovely, isn't she? We met her at, when was the first time we met her? I can't remember. I think it was one of the events out in Chiswick. Maybe?
Yeah, it's Phantom.
For me, anyway. Yeah.
Apparently,
nice.
Colin and Sylvester did a talk on the Saturday. Obviously, I wasn't there, but apparently they were fantastic on stage together. I mean, we've seen them before. We know how great they are, but they caused chaos on the Saturday on the stage. Apparently, those two.
Oh, good. Liven it up a bit.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, I mustn't laugh, mustn't smile. It sets the cough off. But yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad you had a good event, dude. I'm glad you had a good one.
Yeah.
And you've brought back a cold as well as some pictures, so nice one.
Yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah.
It's been my week has been, or a couple of weeks has been very taming compared to yours. Then, so all I've done is just carry on with my classic rewatch. So I'm now up to the last one I watched was the Censorites. So the next one for me is going to be the Reign of Terror. So I know there's a few eps or a couple of eps missing on that one, but yeah, that'll be the next one.
I quite like the Censorites. You heard these rumours about apparently a load of missing episodes have been found in Australia. This is just rumour, by the way. I know we don't normally do rumour, but it seems to have gained some traction of late. So the rumour is that a private collector died in Australia, and in his collection is a load of missing Doctor Who episodes, but we don't know if it's true. I was expecting an announcement yesterday for Doctor Who Day if it was true, and we didn't get anything, so maybe it's a load of BS. But yeah, you heard about that rumour?
I've not. No. That'd be cool.
Fingers crossed it's true.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine, because we've sort of given up a little bit, haven't we, that we're going to find any more.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you never know.
There's always a little glimmer of hope. There must be out there somewhere. There must be.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's one or two stories that were never sent abroad for to be shown. So I think there's one or two that were definitely destroyed. I think it's the Feast of Stephen or something like that. I think there's maybe one or two that, yeah, they just weren't sent abroad, so that they were definitely junked and we're never going to see them, which is a shame. But the majority of the stuff at some point would have been like transferred to a second copy and sent abroad to be repeated and shown. So fingers crossed somewhere there's got to be, you've always got to have a bit of hope. By the way, well, I think of it, mate, happy Doctor Who Day for yesterday.
Of course, yeah. I was just about to,
happy Doctor Who Day. Did you have a good one? I mean, the BBC Twitter account was rocking and rolling for a couple of hours before it completely fizzled out.
Yeah, it was cool. No, it was nice to watch some classic Who on Doctor Who. That was the story I watched yesterday, the Censorites. It was really nice to just kick back and have a bit of Hartnell happening on the anniversary and all that stuff. So yeah, it was really nice. I saw a load of people watching An Unearthly Child, which I know you did as well.
I did, yeah. Really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Doctor Who Day.
But the Twitter account, I was talking to Matt, our friend Matt from Who Addicts, and we were like, we thought they were building to something big. He was like messaging me like, mate, have it's on the hour every hour. They're tweeting something. This is building to like some big thing. And I'm like, yeah, it seems to be, doesn't it? Like they were putting out like new artwork of all the Doctors with Tennant right at the front as the 14th. And what else did they put out? Did you see the video, the friendship video they put out of Donna and the 10th of that? Got my heartstrings, mate. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
they were bugging out something on the hour every hour. And we both thought it was building to like either a costume reveal for Shooty, or maybe even a little trailer or something. It seemed to be building to something big. And then it got to 7 o'clock and they just stopped tweeted. I think the last tweet was like, what does Doctor Who mean to you? And we were like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. And then they didn't tweet anything after that. So it kind of fizzled out, but it was really good for the first couple of hours. It was really good stuff.
It was cool. Yeah, because I have Twitter open on another screen as I'm working. And I just saw it going nuts.
Yeah.
I thought the same at one point. I thought, they might be building to something here, which is kind of cool.
it was creating such a good buzz, like because the stuff they was posting was so good that it really felt like they were creating something big. And I'm glad I didn't put money on it, but I said to Matt, we're definitely, there's been no shooty content yet, and they've done this big thing with having Tennant in the, right at the front of the artwork, and we're definitely going to get something shooty content today. And I was amazed. I mean, if I'd have put money on it, I would have done. I would have lost. I can't believe it. I thought even some new artwork or so. I said, there's going to be something. There's going to be something, but no, nothing at all.
It was cool though for a few hours. Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, and Twitter overall seems pretty good at the minute, pretty positive. So that's good.
It does. I don't want to tempt fate, but it does seem to be in a slightly better place. Maybe the Twitter, the .2 Twitter guy just fell asleep on the sofa like me.
Or maybe he had enough.
Maybe he woke up.
He's like, look, I'm glad you're all happy, but I've not had any lunch yet.
Yeah.
And it's approaching dinner time, so.
He's like, who's taking over the shift? Like, I've been doing this since 9 o'clock this morning. Who's taking over?
Looking around, no one there. Wow, sod it.
Yeah.
That'll be all right. Good times. Doctor Who Day. Happy Doctor Who Day to everybody. Belated. Yes.
Indeed.
Right, shall we hop in this crusty old blue box then and do some news? See what's going on. Let's do it.
Go on then.
So a couple of bits of news then to smash through. The first one is we've actually got some, bless him, that he's coughing his heart.
Sorry,
look,
I'm really
look
trying not
face.
to.
Oh. The first bit of news then is we've got a whole slew of production style news that came via way of Doctor Who magazine, the last one that dropped. What was that? A couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago now.
Yeah,
with the very cool cover with David Tennant on the front. So we've got some really cool deets that landed from that issue, and we've got a bit more clarity on when the specials are dropping and who's doing what. So the anniversary year, so the stuff next year that David Tennant and Catherine Tate are involved in, they're all going to be broadcast in November. So this is not one of those, one in Easter, one at summer and all that stuff, spread it out like they did with the Series 4 specials. We're not going to get any, it sounds heartbreaking in a way, but we're not going to get any new Doctor Who, nothing at all now for a whole year. So November 2023, that's when those 3 specials are going to land in the anniversary month, which kind of makes sense. So that's all cool. And obviously David Tennant and Catherine Tate are back as David Tennant now is officially the 14th Doctor. That's how the BBC, that's how Russell and everybody has labelled the comeback from David Tennant. This is not one of those weird things where it's like the War Doctor. Does he get counted as a number and all that stuff? He is actually a number. And then Ncuti is officially the 15th Doctor. So that's how it's gonna line up as we move forward. We've got some news on some directors coming back and some fresh ones that are going to direct these specials. So the first one is going to be directed by Rachel Talalay, and you'd know that name. So she did quite a few eps in the Capaldi era, and she I think she did the concluding. She directed the concluding stories in his series at the end of his run, and she also did Twice Upon a Time, and the story with David Bradley and all that stuff. So a well-known name / director coming back to direct the first special. The second special is going to be a new director to Who. His name is Tom Kingsley, and he's known for directing the second series of the BBC sitcom Ghosts, which is a bit of a sleeper hit, I'll be honest with you, dude. It's one of those things where not everybody knows about it, but the people that have watched it love it. I've seen the first few episodes of series 1, so I need to carry on with that. But it's very cool. So he's directed the second series, and also he did some Channel 4 stuff, Staff Lets Flats, which is that comedy documentary style.
Oh, right.
Comedy. So that's going to be cool. And then the third and final special is going to be directed by Chania Button. And she's also new to Doctor Who. She's not directed anything before, but she has done a lot of theatre work. So she's done a load of directing at the Globe, at London South Bank. So she's got a very big theatre background. And also she has done a couple of things on top of that. So she's done a feature film. So Burn, Burn, Burn. I've not heard of that before, but she directed that. And also something that went out in the US, I believe, a drama about Catherine of Aragon, the Spanish princess, as well as some other stuff on some other channels. So another brand new director coming to Who. So that means that we're not going to see Nshute's Doctor until, we assume, anyway, the regeneration at the end of the third special in 2023, and then his series will start properly in 2024. We don't know when in 24, but that's when his stuff is going to kick off officially, and filming for that begins next month. And directing the first block of all that stuff is another newcomer to Who, somebody called Dylan Holmes Williams. And his short film, The Devil's Harmony, won the jury prize at the Sundance Film Festival in 2020. And he's also directed a couple of TVs for Apple TV's The Servant. And so, yeah. And then just another slew of names that you'll recognise who are working on the production as we move forward. Obviously, Russell, you know that one. Julie Gardner's back. Phil Collinson's back. Jane Tranter. So they're all executive producers. All of these really cool names that made Doctor Who what it is in the modern era are all back. So it sounds very, very cool, dude. All back as Bad Wolf Productions and so on. And then looking at... looking after the show overall as production designer is Philip Sims, and he was the art director on the 6th and 7th Mission Impossible films, as well as Episode 9 of Star Wars, as well as Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers Age of Ultron. And so a really big, huge name in terms of production design coming to Doctor Who. And then lastly, script editor will be Scott Hancock, who worked on the Sarah Jane Adventures, as well as a bunch of stuff. Anyone that listens to a lot of Big Finish will know his name. He's done so many scripts for Big Finish. So, dude, some really good news there. I'm so pumped that as well as Russell coming back, we've also got Julie and Phil and all those people that were around in 2005 and all that stuff, and some big names coming to do some design work on it as well. The dude that does all the Star Wars stuff and the Avengers. I can't wait, mate. It's going to be so good. I'm over the moon with this news. Very cool. Yeah,
it's a good collective, isn't it? It really is. It is exciting. And I was saying with Matt yesterday that it feels like since Russell came back, he's really sort of all the stuff that was drifting, like the merchandise and the like the promotion and stuff that's just sort of like driftwood out there. It's as if he's gathered it all back in and it's all under one roof again. I mean, yesterday when they were doing the announcement, it felt very structured. We got new artwork and we, all the stuff that we've had in the last month since Jodie left it. It does all feel already so well planned out by Russell and his team. We got a new figure set announced yesterday. We got a Big Finish set announced, and it just feels like he's just brought it all back in under one roof, and he's got it all plotted out very nicely. Like even the little drips of promotion that we've had in the last month, I would just think they've been brilliantly spaced out. Like, I don't know how he's going to keep it going for another year. I have no idea how he's going to keep the ball rolling for the next year. But at the minute, just in this last month, he's done such a good job of just like drip feeding us little bits to keep us excited. Like, like the news you've just read out. As I said, the merchandise, the promotion, the artwork. I just think it is exciting, and it does feel it is creating a buzz. I just hope we can keep it going for a year.
True. Forbidden Planet here in the UK have got some really good Doctor Who merch queued up and lined up for their not as well as Doctor Who Day, but just the 60th anniversary in general. They've got a whole slew of t-shirts and sweatshirts and all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, they've got some cool stuff lined up too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was looking at that merch. Right, and talking of well planned out, so we did get quite a big announcement on Children in Need, which again is a lovely thing because, we've had so many nice Doctor Who things drop during Children in Need over the years, so this was lovely to get this. It was the announcement of the new companion that's going to be joining Nshuti, and her name is Millie Gibson. Her character name is Ruby Sunday. When she first said that, I was like, sorry, what? Ruby Sunday? I mean, it does sound like it sounds like the name you come up with when you're trying to do... I'm not sure about the name. But anyway, Millie Gibson, I didn't have a clue who she was when she was announced, I have to be honest. but she's best known for playing Keely Neelan. Is it with these names in Coronation Street, which I don't watch. I hate the soap, so that's why I didn't know who she is. I don't watch any of the soaps, but that's what she's best known for. She's very young. I think she's only 18, but I hear from people who do watch soaps that she's a really good actress. So yeah, so even though I don't know who she is, I'm told she's very good, and she dealt with some difficult storylines and, you know, acted them well. So that's all I really know. And I do have faith in Russell. But yeah, when she was announced, I was like, who? Haven't got a clue.
Same. Yeah.
The one thing I did like, though, was that they released a little tiny 2 or 3 minute video clip of her and Shooty just talking. It was on Twitter and stuff, and it was basically him asking her like generic questions, and she was giving her answers. But about a minute and a half into the sort of little interview, they kind of just dropped the questions and just started chatting and laughing, and I just thought, they seem like they've got a good bants between these two. I think this could be a really good pairing, you know, if this translates to screen. And what I did like was that, you know, a lot of people are, you know, with casting these days, I mean, Russell's getting it in the neck left, right, centre from, you know, it's just so hard to please everybody. You just can't do it. And there was a bit of criticism, you know, about the casting. I think people assumed it'd be Yasmin, I've forgotten her name, the one that's joining David. Sorry, I've forgotten her name.
Yes, I know who you mean, yes. Yep.
Yeah. And, but what I liked about it is Russell's obviously auditioning people and just picking who he thinks is best for the role, because Shooty says in that little video, and he says it very candidly, it's kind of an off-the-cuff comment, so it's not like he sort of planned it. You know, he just sort of says, yes, I was in the auditions when Millie auditioned, and I said to Russell after she left the room, she's the one. And I love the thought of them sat there and just being all excited and be like, yeah, I think we found our Ruby Sunday here. So that's really nice. I love the fact they're doing auditions, and if Russell and Shooty think she's the one, then I'm excited for that. So yeah, is there anything else I need to say about her? Let's have a little look.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what an opportunity for Millie though, as a young actress to be, you know, this has got shades of Billie Piper all over it. You know, Billie Piper was not really known as an actress prior to Doctor Who. She was more of a sort of a teen pop star here in the UK and doing that stuff. And the springboard for that, you know, she's been in some really big TV shows over the last, I don't know how many years, 20 years, I suppose, since Doctor Who, 18 years. So this should be a really, really great thing for her career. And you're absolutely right, dude. I think it's very cool that Russell is just going with his gut as he normally does. He's under no. We got the impression that in the Chibnall era, especially at the beginning, it was a case of, does Chibnall truly want to cast these people, or is he doing it because some executive at the BBC is saying you have to cast, you know, a certain type of person in these roles, sort of thing. You always got that feeling because it was alluded to in certain interviews and stuff, and he didn't really comment directly about it. He just sort of skirted around it, so you didn't really get that. But I get the feeling with Russell, he's like, no, you either let me do this my way and cast the people I want to cast, or, you know, it's not happening. So yeah, I think she's going to be very cool.
Were you there when it was announced? Did you watch Chimney Neat?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know who she was?
I had no idea because I don't watch Corrie.
It was exciting, wasn't it?
It was cool though. The only thing
that the TARDIS, it's like, who's coming out?
Yeah, that was cool. It was great to see the TARDIS though on that stage. It was very cool. The only thing that does my head in about, or did my head in about that was it Mel Godric who was doing it? I love her. She's so funny, but the thing with her is that she comes across as really patronizing. That's the only thing that took the shine off, because she was like, oh, look, you're the new companion, aren't you? It's going to be exciting, isn't it? And all that. I'm like, that this is not a BBC, you know, early morning kids thing in the ball pool. This is a this is a thing. But it was great to just to see her come out beaming, massive smile from the TARDIS and all that stuff. So yeah, dude, I think it's a great pairing, and the promo shot that they've released of her and Shooty together, they look very cool and relaxed together. So
They do.
Should
She
be good.
seemed very shy when she came out. I think, like I said, she is quite young. So, but like, yeah, I do have faith in Russell, like you said, when he cast Billy and stuff. And just I'll just give you the quote from Millie. She said, while still being in total disbelief, I'm beyond honoured to be cast as the Doctor's companion. It's a gift of a role and a dream come true. And I will do everything to try and fill the boots the fellow companions have travelled in before me. And what better way to do that than being by the fabulous Naguti Gatwa's side. I just can't wait to get started, which is a lovely quote, actually. It's really, really nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would be as well, wouldn't you? You'd be so eager just to get rocking and rolling. And
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm excited for them. Looking forward to it.
Indeedy. Yes. So some great news there. Some really good production stuff revealed. All the directors and all the exec producers at Bad Wolf. Should be cool. Production kicks off next month, some point in December. One would assume that we're going to see some set pics knocking around and some other bits and pieces as they start filming on location and whatnot. So that's going to be cool to get into that. And also our new companion, Ruby Sunday, has been announced, and his actress Millie Gibson. So some great news there, dude, to as we land the TARDIS and get into our review, which is...
Yeah, so we're still ploughing on with Torchwood Miracle Day. And this episode is episode 8, and it's called End of the Road.
On the next all-new episode...
We got the names of the people who are responsible for causing the miracle. I suggest we get to work.
You are not the only remarkable thing on this earth, Jack. My grandfather wasn't alone.
This thing would be the end of us.
We are going to search this place. Something happened here.
How the hell did you do this?
Oh, my God.
I got a man dying here!
An all-new episode of Torchwood Miracle Day. New episodes Fridays at 10 on Stars.
On Stars.
Stars, eh?
Yeah. Thought I'd throw that in there. An upfront apology to our US listener. But yeah, very cheesy US version of the trailer there that we don't get too often here in the UK. But it's the whole coming this Friday, Torchwood. So, as you said, dude, we are ploughing through Miracle Day. We're on episode 8, End of the Road, and it was first broadcast back on the 26th of August 2011 in the US, and then we got it the following week on the 1st of September. It was directed by Gwyneth Horder-Payton, written by Ryan Scott, and it's got a weird kind of dual credit for this. So it was written by Ryan Scott, and then the teleplay was written by Ryan Scott and Jane Espenson. Sorry. And so I think that's when you've taken the script and then you've turned it into a screenplay or a teleplay in this instance. But then the original script, it sounds like, was also written by Ryan Scott. It stars John Barrowman, Eve Miles, Mickey Pfeiffer as Rex, Alexa Havins as Esther, Kai Owen as Reese, and Bill Pullman as Oswald Danes, and then a bunch of other supporting cast members. And then the synopsis is thus. Jack Harkness showdowns with a man he thought long dead, but will the outcome be beneficial? Rex Matheson takes extreme action, but is it too late to prevent the collapse of society? ? So then, Bud, what are your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts on this is that I thought it was a bit of a mess, this episode. I found it really tedious, because the whole thing was just lots of questions and quite a bit of exposition. So I was struggled all the way through this, to be honest with you. There was the odd moment, there was the odd little reveal, but I didn't think it was very good. I didn't think the script was very good. I even, for the first time, found Gwen a little bit annoying. I was almost relieved when she got told to leave the room. And again, the writing just showed that they didn't know what to do with her. So, let's get her out of the story because we don't know what to do with these characters. Nothing really happened. It was just another filler where they threw in. The only interesting thing was this thing that they found under the floor. What was it? A transmitter thing? The
transmitter for the morphic field or something. Yeah.
That's the only sort of interesting development in this. We saw Duet Dane come back and beat up some prostitute for, I don't know what that was about, apart from just filling up another 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, really couldn't get on board with this one, mate. I was glad when I finished it. It as I said, the word I've written at the bottom of my pad is tedious. So
dear.
not a fan of this one, I'm afraid.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I kind of echo you on this one, buddy. It was a shame because when we reviewed the last episode, which was called Immortal Sins, that one kind of had us hooked back in, it felt like.
It did.
Because we gave that, I gave it a 7.5, you gave it a 7. And that was the highest score for a while. All the other ones of Miracle Day have been 6s and 5.5s, a couple of them. So I really felt like this one, we were kind of building up as we progressed to the end of the series and coming up to some big finale, some big showdown. But then this one, like you said, it felt like it was, I don't know, it's almost like they've run out of content to stretch across 10 episodes.
Massively.
Yeah. To me, it's like, this is the stuff that you normally see in the first half of the penultimate episode. So in the penultimate episode, you normally have a bit of a thing happening, and then in the last 10 minutes, there's this huge thing that kicks off, a big cliffhanger, leaving you wanting more as you go into the finale. Whereas it feels like they just haven't got enough content to do that. So now that we're just really stretching out the whole thing. So essentially in this episode, it really was just a case of they've arrived at What's-His-Face's mansion. So at the end of the previous episode, they met up with Angelo's granddaughter, and she's taken them to his mansion. So throughout his life, thanks to Jack, who has informed him about how the world is going to work, he's now used that to his advantage and has made a fortune. And he's also really researched heavily how to live a longer life. So I'm sure we'll get some more details on that in the next 2 eps, hopefully, about this whole miracle thing and the life that's, how life is preserved and all that stuff. But essentially that's it. They arrive at his mansion and Angelo is the first person that dies naturally while this whole miracle thing has gone on. So everyone's like, well, how is this possible? We don't know, because nobody can die at the minute. He should be alive. How is he dead? Nobody knows. And then they find this weird thing in the floor under his bed. He was in this big room with all this medical equipment and everything. And then they try to cover it up. But Esther has been informed. She's spoken to her sister, I think it is. And she's going to volunteer to do this thing. She's trying to warn her. So she's in a race now, a countdown to get this solved so that nothing happens to her sister. Jack wants to take this transmitter away from the mansion so he can investigate it properly. God knows why he wants to do that. Where's he going to take it? Nobody knows.
How's he going to take it?
How's he going to do that? And then we have this really snarky, really annoying CIA agent that's running the show to a degree. And yeah, so, he's kind of, butting heads with him. That's not going well. And that's it. That's the episode. It really is just Jack having a lovely moment with Angelo. Angelo passes away. Jack then realizes that under his bed is a transmitter, something to do with a morphic field, and that's it. All the other stuff that happens around it is just like you said, questions, conversations about the same thing, blah, blah, blah. I think they even tried to inject a little bit of fun and humor in this one. I think Gwen's character is quite laid back and funny in this one, which is really off character for her because it feels just like she's given up now. She's just having a laugh about it all and not really doing stuff. I know that she's feeling a bit more chilled now that she knows that Reese is all good back home and the baby and everything like that. But she still, there's that throughout the entire series up to this point. You've always felt like Gwen's character has been really keen and eager to stick with Torchwood. There's been a couple of times where she's had the opportunity to leave it all and go back home to Wales and be with her family, but she hasn't. She's stuck it out. She really wants to do it. But in this one, she's like, oh, this is pretty funny, really. Her attitude and the way that she's played it, which I'm assuming is down to the direction, is very much like, well, you've got to laugh about it, haven't you? Because if you don't laugh, then you're just going to cry about it. So,
that's what I mean. Even Gwen, we always say she's like a strong constant, don't we? That she's always good, even about it's the first time really I can think of where I just thought when they sort of got rid of her, I thought, oh, I'm not too bothered actually. Normally I'd be rooting for Gwen, like, no, don't get rid of Gwen. But yeah, the whole cast looked a bit bored. I mean, there's a lot of standing around, especially for the first 10 minutes. There's a lot of them wandering around the mansion, talking. And I like the concept of this transmitter under the bed. That's quite a nice idea. But like you said, it's not enough to stretch out a story for for 50 minutes, whatever it is. And you mentioned the humour there as well. There's a couple of moments where they throw in you could tell that's trying to be funny. The humour didn't land for me in this story at all. I just found it really clunky and cringy, to be honest. And also the direction was a bit off, because I don't know about if you thought this, but the scene where Angelo dies, it was almost as if Barrowman was playing it for laughs. He's like, "Oh my, what's all the beeping? There's beeping going on. Well, the machines are beeping," and he's like tapping away on the computer keyboard madly. And I just thought I would have got him to retake that scene. I'd be like, "John, it's this isn't a comedic scene. The bit I mean. He's like throwing the computers across the room and like trying to tap away." I think the scene afterwards, I can't remember now because it's 2 weeks since I watched it now, and it was pretty unmemorable. But I think that maybe afterwards, does he say goodbye to him or something? It might have been quite touching, but yeah, again, that whole scene just didn't feel like it should have been quite a big moment, I think, and it didn't feel like it. It
didn't really land, did it? Yeah, it was.
It didn't land at all.
No, because it was a touching moment. You could tell that he's just having a quiet moment with him. He knows that he's in a bad way. He's not just going to get up and they're going to resume some crazy romance. Of course, he's really old, and you can tell he's on his way out. So there's that touching moment. He just leans forward and I think he says "Goodbye, old man," or something like that.
Did you get the feeling that Barrowman really didn't want to kiss that old man? Well, he literally barely. It's as if he leans in and then you can hear the director go on, kiss him.
Yeah.
And he's like, he really didn't look like he wanted to do that. I'm not like blame him, but
no, Rija. It was initially I thought it was the the actor who played Angelo in some makeup to make him look really old, and I thought he was going to wake up and have a little last minute conversation with him and stuff. But yeah, it was weird.
It wasn't him, was it? I assume it wasn't.
I don't think so. No, but I thought it was to begin with. I thought he's bound to wake up, see Jack, and he can then die happily or peacefully that he's seen Jack again and stuff like that. But yeah, that was weird. And yeah, so the humour, like you said, just didn't really land in this one, because it also feels like the stakes have been shifted from what was quite a horrific and fairly gruesome thing. So in the first half of this series, it really was all about this, the miracle, obviously, that's causing the problem, whatever it turns out to be, but also the way that society has handled it has been really horrific. And that's what's grounded the series for a lot of us. I know that it's Torchwood and it's science fiction and all that stuff, but in my opinion, some of the best Torchwood, and the same all applies to Doctor Who, some of the best of that stuff is when there is some kind of relatable subject matter or narrative that you can kind of latch onto. So in the first half, it's been about how society has handled it and how they've progressed this kind of tiered system for people who are injured from 3 to 1, and now we have this 0 level that we find in this episode with Oswald Daines' character, and then the whole thing around, well, we don't know what to do with bodies, so we're just going to torch them all in these giant ovens and stuff. All of that was a real horrific thing that made you think like these guys have got to solve this because it's just terrible. But I feel like this one, and the last episode was slightly different because it was a load of flashbacks, but certainly in this one, it really feels now like none of that really matters. None of it is really kind of, their focus has shifted from helping to just now investigating who these 3 families are. So the 3 dudes that were in Jack's flashback that quote unquote bought him when he was chained up and stuff. And the only really kind of tiny little nugget that we can hold on to that now really is Esther trying to save her sister because her sister's volunteered and the kids to do this thing. So that's really it. So it feels like it doesn't, the weight of this whole thing is not really there anymore. It's just Torchwood having a bit of a laugh and a crack, annoying the CIA dude. He's annoying them back.
And the Jurassic Park guy was back, whatever his name is.
Jurassic Park dude, yeah. He was, so he's obviously been, we now know that he was planted there by the family, one of these families, right? So he was captured by Rex with the lenses. That's been done before. All good.
I put grown eye lenses again.
Yeah, eye lenses have come, a bit of a plot device to deal with his character, essentially. Yeah. And he ended up committing suicide, takes out another CIA agent and also Angelo's granddaughter, which was pretty sad. Although no emotional attachment to her because she's not been in it long enough. But yeah, so he's gone. And then we have some more ridiculousness. It was a really badly put together scene where Jack calls over Rex and Esther and he's like, the morphic field means that nobody can hear us, but they can still see us. So it's basically act natural. Yeah. So you've got all these CIA dudes around the edge of the room and they're walking in and out and they do this thing where they see somebody or whatever. They just, like, we're not up to anything, everything's fine here. We're not doing anything. It's the most poorly put together bit of Torchwood in this episode, possibly for a few episodes. It's like if you were a clued up, sensible, on the ball person walking around that room, you would spot them three up to no good within 3 seconds, especially if you're a parent, because that's the kind of tomfoolery that your kids do when they're up to something and they want you to think that they're not up to something and they want to try and... So it was just really strange, Bud, because it's like, we don't need it explaining to us either. They did this thing that went on for a minute where Rex is like, I don't believe you. And Jack's like, well, yeah, come in and find out. And it just went on for ages. And, mate, what a...
I was groaning because that was my biggest point about this episode, that scene. I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous, and you're right, it seemed to go on forever. But okay, I get the idea that it's a cool idea that if you step into this thing nobody can hear you. Cool, like that idea. Cool. But they would be able to see you, like mouthing and talk. They can still see you. Of course, like, just because they can't hear you, they can still see you, like turning around and mouthing and talking to the other people and all that. It was so ridiculous. I mean, and that's what I mean about direction as well. I think if you get that in the script and you're thinking, God, how am I going to shoot that to make that look good? Just don't have the guards wandering around, don't make it so obvious that the guards could see them. Have them in the corner of the room, do something. It just was so blatant that, there's no way they would have got away with that. And it did. It just went on forever. And I was literally like putting my hand to my head and just shaking my head like, what is going on here? This is just stupid. Yeah. So I let out a big groan when you mentioned that scene, because that's one of the notes I've got. Ridiculous.
Dude. So essentially in that scene, it could have just been wrapped up with a 30-second conversation.
Yeah.
The morphic field is causing the miracle and the thing under his bed is a null field that's cancelling it out.
Yeah.
That's your thing. That's all your thing. So, and then that's the story, dude. There's no other story in this episode other than Jack wants to take this thing out. God knows where. Torchwood doesn't have a base anymore. Doesn't have anything, so don't know where he's going to take it. Rex helps him at the end. He escapes. Off with Esther they go. Rex is going to stay behind and sort of smooth over the cracks. And there we go. So that's the story. Let's talk about some characters.
Yeah, go on then.
Before we get on to the main cast, we've mentioned the guy, the Jurassic Park dude that's come back. He
blows himself up.
He was actually okay for a little bit. He was...
Yeah, I like the actor.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is. Yeah.
What about the dude who seems to be very high up, or the head of the CIA, who's got a real bee in his bonnet around Jack and Torchwood and stuff? He's annoying. I recognise him from some early Star Trek, The Next Generation. He played a character called Q. There was a character called Q that popped up every now and then in The Next Generation, and he was equally annoying in there. I'm sure he's a lovely guy in reality, but he just seems to play annoying... I think it's his voice as well. Annoying bloody characters, but...
I recognised him, but I didn't know where. But yeah, I mean, he was a bit caricature as well, wasn't he? He's like, I'm an annoying CIA agent. Yeah, just the way he played it. I didn't really like him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his final objective is either, because you can tell
what's
that
his beef? What's your beef, man?
Yeah, because you can tell that he obviously wants to solve the bigger picture to a degree, but he seems more preoccupied with trying to figure out what Jack's doing and what they're up to and stuff like that. So he was okay, I suppose. So yeah, Alan Shapiro is our CIA agent, John DeLancey.
What a ridiculous name.
What a ridiculous bloody name. Yeah. So he was annoying. So yeah, didn't really do much for the story.
Yeah.
We had a nice little scene with Reese, like Gwen's on the phone, just keeping him up to date with what's going on.
Yeah.
And Reese is like, I wish you could come home. And she's like, well, I'll be home soon. I can't yet. I'm just going to stay here and crack funny one-liners for a bit more. And then I'll probably be home and that's it. So Reese was cool, as usual.
Yeah, as usual.
Yes. What about let's talk about the scene towards the end with Oswald Danes and
what was that about?
Yeah, so that's weird. It kind of took a bit of a dark, freaky, weird turn towards the end, and I still can't figure out whether that scene was needed or not. I think it probably was, just to highlight the fact that his character Oswald Danes is still a creepy old bit of a beep. So basically, he's on cloud nine at the minute. He knows that he's like the most famous guy in the world right now, big celebrity. Everything's going well for him. He's in his hotel room. He just wants to kick back and have a bit of fun. And he's doing this weird dance around the room as he's talking to
almost Joker-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, as he's talking to the PR lady. What's her name?
Oh, Kissinger.
Kissinger, that's it.
Is it
Thank
Kissinger?
You. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And yeah, he basically says, look, I want to kick back, blah, blah, get me a prostitute. And you think, oh, okay, that's creepy and all the rest of it. And then she kind of entertains it. She's like, well, how old? And he's like, yeah, legal, but redhead and all this stuff, basically describing her. But just, it is creepy. And the scene ultimately culminates with the prostitute who they've sent in is, fairly up for it, which is weird in itself, because she knows exactly who he is and why he's doing what he's doing. And she entertains it for a while, but then she realizes that he's a bit of a, too creepy for her. So she does the off. Kissinger comes back in and they have a bit of a tussle. He's angry that the woman's left, and she's putting up with none of it and all the rest of it. And
that's right. Actually, I said he beat up the prostitute, but no, it was Kissinger, whatever her name is, that he actually beats up, isn't it?
They have a bit of a fight because he's angry. He's like, this is... And then she reveals that soon he's going to become what we now know as Category 0. And basically, they'll classify criminals like him as Category 0s, and they'll be sent to these to the ovens. I think the gist of what she was saying. Yeah. So even though he hasn't been like seriously wounded, and he's should be dead, he's alive and well. Because he's a criminal, he's going to be one of the dudes now, Category 0. And she takes great delight in shouting that to him, and they have a bit of a fight and so on. So it was an interesting scene, only because it just took us away from the complete boredom that was going on in the rest of the episode. So fairly well acted out, I would say, from those two.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it that. I mean, it did. I think it was there to sort of, because we haven't seen Dane, have we, for the last? Is it episode or 2? I'm not sure. I don't feel like we've seen much of him. So whether it was there just to remind us of what a nasty creep he is, just to sort of reinforce that. Like you said, it did at least break up the boredom from the rest of the episode. I will give it that. And we do get those agents like come in at the end and shoot. So this random woman just decides to try and pair up with Kissinger, doesn't she? And I don't again.
Oh,
don't
the
really
FBI, the CIA agent that turns up, and turns out that. So Kissinger didn't realise that, and then this dude turns up at the end, doesn't he? He's like, "You've done well. We think we want to recruit you as an agent yourself, and all that stuff." And then he shoots that woman in the lift, and Yeah.
So again, a bit sort of over in a flash, and I was like, oh, what's the point of her then? But it adds another element of mystery to it, I suppose. But again, it feels a little bit like, we don't really need any more mystery. We'd like some answers, It's like, come on. But yes, a strange scene, very uncomfortable, really, to watch. But it, like you said, it at least took away some of the boredom of what was going on in the mansion. yeah.
I mean, it did sort of ramp up in those last 2 or 3 minutes. So we had that going on in the hotel room, and then back at Angelo's place, as Esther and Jack are escaping. Jack gets shot, so he's on the back seat, because we know that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
We know that Jack is mortal, and we know a bit more about that now because Angelo used this device thing as well as Jack's blood from back in the day. That's why Jack is now mortal, it seems. It's like the reverse has happened to him. So he's been shot, he's on the back seat, and Esther's just freaking out. She's like, tell me where to go. Which also reinforces the fact that where the bloody hell were they going to take this thing?
Yeah, I know. What are they going to do with it?
Yeah, so Jack's out of it. He's passed out on the back. He's been shot. Esther's driving off. And Rex has gone back in to try and explain how they've escaped. I don't know how he's going to do that, but there we go. Who knows? But yeah, that last few minutes, I guess, as we close out the episode, was okay. And Esther was pretty good. Alexa Havins, she was pretty good in that last bit.
Yeah, she's all right, Esther. And I'd forgotten Jack got shot. As I said, it's 2 weeks since I watched this now, because we couldn't record last week. And that added a little bit of danger to it, because we know that Jack can now die. I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't. But the thing is with Esther, though, you mentioned her sister earlier, an emotional attachment. When we had that scene of where we're supposed to worry about Esther's sister being captive, and I'm like, there's no emotional attachment to me there. I couldn't care less about Esther's sister or Esther, to be honest. That's the problem. We've had 7 episodes or 8 episodes even, and I haven't really formed much attachment to the new Torchwood gang, if you like. I mean, it's still mainly Jack and Gwen that I like. I mean, Rex gets on my freaking nerves. Esther's just a bit boring. So, even that, I didn't really care. I hate to say I didn't really care about her sister. I'm like, oh, so what? Exactly. I just can't form any emotional attachment to these characters. Throwing something in about her sister this late in the day, I'm like, well, who is she? We haven't even got to really know her.
Yeah, so we got that same kind of similar conversation with her and her sister. What was it, episode 2 or 3 or something?
Yeah,
where she realizes
so long ago.
She's not a fit enough person to look after the kids, so she reports her.
Yeah, that's right.
And all that. So yeah, I get you, dude. Okay, what do you think to Rex in this one then? Mekhi Phifer.
I mean, he's just written to be quite annoying, and he's always sort of butting heads with Jack, and
quite shouty and
bolshy.
Bolshy, yeah, and he has a couple
not
of
very likable.
No, I mean, he has a couple of all right conversations with the dude, with Shapiro, the CIA head dude, and he kind of sort of smooths it over what he's been up to the last couple of months. He's like, did you really think I was a traitor to the CIA? I was just doing this, to basically just trying to explain why he's been off the radar and undercover. He's looking at the bigger picture. He's like, I'm just trying to stop this whole thing and solve it. And Torchwood was a way of doing that. So that was okay, but just generally bolshy and shouty, and just a real stubbornness to open up to what Jack's trying to tell him as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, because even though the plot is very thin in this one, this whole null-filled transmitter thing under the bed, although that's narratively very weak, the fact that Rex still refuses to take on board anything Jack's saying to him is getting really tiresome now. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Jack even admits to Shapiro at some point, he's like, look, I really don't know exactly what this is. I'm no expert, but we do need to investigate it. So I need to take this to insert location here that I'm going to dream up in a minute to find out what's going on. And but then he says to Rex, look, this is part of what's going on. I can explain this bit. This is why people can't hear us, but they can see us, and all that stuff. And even then, right up to the last second, Rex is like, nah, this is not right. Nothing's going on. It's like, dude, he's telling you exactly what's going on, because in a way, he's telling us, the viewer, exactly what's going on, and you're just in the scene to have your ears, burnt off. I don't know.
There was a lot of exposition in this one. There's a lot of telling. Yeah, I mean, Chibnall would have loved this episode. There's a lot of telling the viewer and the characters exactly what was happening. It was pretty heavy on that. Yeah.
The only other thing that was cool with Rex, apart from that conversation with Shapiro, was he does go to bat for Gwen. So Gwen's doing her little comedic bit, and Shapiro's like, I should have you arrested and all the rest of it. And Rex was like, actually, she's proven herself to be really good. So, just leave her alone sort of thing. So that was okay. But otherwise,
he's all right, Rex. I just can't really get on board with him, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to at this late stage. I don't think he's going to win me over, but he might by the end of it. I doubt it.
Yeah, same. And then lastly, Captain Jack.
Captain Jack.
What do you reckon to old Barrowman in this one then? So a bit like Eve Miles in this one, written to be some of it to be humorous and funny, other times to try and be emotional and softer, and then other times be very much, I'm the head of Torchwood and I'm shouting at you to come across as very authoritative, so listen to me, and that doesn't really work either. So he's got a little bit of range in this one. He does try to be a bit more dynamic, but I don't know, it just the writing more than anything, it's not really his fault. I think it's the writing and the direction that's pulls him all over the place a bit unnecessarily.
I'd absolutely agree with that. I just think it's not a good story for Jack. I mean, that's the thing. Last week's story was good because it was so centered around him, and you could just tell that he probably loved. Well, I think he says in the intro that he loved that episode, and he can tell he was really into it. Yeah, he's very much going through the motions in this episode, but I can't really blame him because of what he's given to say and do. So it's not a bad performance, but it's not a good one either. But it's down to the script more than anything. He's just not really given anything to do. I do agree with you, just to quickly pick up on something you said earlier. I do think we should have had a scene where before Angelo died there should have been a conversation there, because you've had this big build up and the relationship between those two last week, and then we get the shock reveal that Angelo's still alive and he's now this old man, and that there should have been a touching scene, and it probably could have easily filled a couple of minutes in this boring episode. It might have added something to it if there was a little emotional punch there with Jack saying goodbye to him and why are you doing this. They could have written a nice touching scene. I mean, it probably would have been predictable because you're like, oh, obviously Angelo's going to die and it's tears and all that, but I do think it should have had it because I feel a bit cheated. Like, you've reintroduced this character just for him to die on a bed without saying anything, and Jack seems to have gotten over him pretty quick, and so I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen a moment between him and Jack before he died, and I just thought the scene where the machines were beeping and Barrowman was going crazy, it seemed to be played more for laughs than seriousness. I just think the tone was wrong.
I agree, mate. Yeah, so instead of having a really nice scene where he had a few minutes with Jack before he died, he could have told Jack all the stuff, and via way we would have been privy to that. But instead, what they did is they let his granddaughter, her character, give us all the exposition around that. Yeah. Instead of Angelo telling Jack, and and we witnessed that. So, a bit of a weirdly written one. This episode to me, it's it's not landed this episode at all with what's going on with the story. In fact, we'll probably mention this when we get to the very end, but you could probably watch this series if you wanted to in a bit of a binge without this episode in there, I'm guessing.
You probably could. I mean, it introduces the transmitter thing. That's the only thing. That's the whole purpose of it. But yeah,
other
you
than
could
that,
probably get around that.
Yeah, you could get around that. So
I certainly won't watch it again.
Yeah. Anyways, anything else on your notes for this episode?
No, not really, mate. No.
Okay. Scores on the doors, and I think it's me to go first.
Go for it.
I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10, dude. I thought this was potentially one of the weakest episodes in this series, dude. It's just completely unnecessary, unneeded, a load of waffle, a load of oddly timed humour, doesn't really land, and some really poorly put together scenes that just the execution, maybe in the script and on paper, they probably read that and thought, oh, that would be very cool, but the way it was executed, especially that scene where they're all just kneeling down on the thing, and just terrible, man. Not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had a feeling it wasn't going to be a good one from so you don't get these, but you know the little intros that they have on the Blu-ray of Barrowman and RTD. They do these on the Blu-ray. They give you like the little intros, which I assume they showed at the time, of like them trying to build up the episode before you watch it. It's really weird. They're like, so this week we get this, that, and the other, and Barrowman's sort of trying to inject some enthusiasm, but I can tell that RTD has just given up at this point. He looked bored, and it's only like a 30-second.
Yeah,
he's just like, so this week, right? So there's see, this is an exciting episode. And I'm like, you don't sound excited, Russell. So I kind of got the feeling it wasn't going to be that good from that. And I just agree with you. It just fell flat. So. 4.5 I'm going to give it. I'll go a little bit higher. I don't know what the 0.5's for, because I agree with you. It was just a very boring episode. Yeah, didn't at this stage in Miracle Day we should be ramping up the danger and the excitement and everything, and this is just a flat boring episode. It's episode 8. There should have been a lot more to it than this.
It does feel like that, mate. Should be more substance to this point, at this point in the story anyway. Yeah, which is weird. So okay, so a 4 from me, a 4.5 from him. We only had a couple of reviews in on this one.
Not surprised.
Yep. So over on the Twitter, Chippy T quite liked it though. He says much more like it. Lots of intrigue with CIA moles, the family and its uses for the blood. Kit Singer and Danes with the hotel scene. Oh, and Jack gets shot. Mortality beckons. 7.5 from me.
Wow, that's quite cool. A different take, isn't it? Okay.
Indeedy, yeah. And then lastly on Twitter, Will Sanger says, why does this keep getting worse? It's the same boring characters with one personality trait. This one feels like purely exposition where I don't feel like I've learnt a lot by the end of it, and it feels dragged out. On the plus side, I thought Jack was very good in this one.
Okay. Oh, Gareth Sneezing, he's caught the bug. He's caught it over Riverside.
Excuse me. Right. And then we just had one comment over on Facebook, and this one's a cracker. This one's a belter. This is from James Walsh. And James says, this still on? ? 0 out of 10. 4 puking up emojis. Oh, dear.
Oh, I don't think he likes it.
I don't know if James is being sarcastic there and he loves it, or if he genuinely doesn't like it. But yeah, 0 out of 10.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah. So not good. Not good. Bad this week from Torchwood. Not next week, but when we come round to the next one, which is called The Gathering, fingers crossed that one picks up a bit more pace and we get something substantial in that one.
God, let me hope so.
Yeah. 2 more to go, dude.
All
and
right,
dear listener,
we're
getting through it. Next week, though, what we're reviewing them?
So next week we'll be diving into some Tennant era Doctor Who, and we're going to be doing the 2-part of The Stolen Earth and Journey's End.
Ah,
that's the one with the hand, isn't it? It's the one with the hand. Yeah.
The strong
Davros.
hand.
Oh, right, yeah. So
yeah.
That should be cool.
And we got Jack back for that one as well, and the whole crew.
Jack's back, isn't he? Yeah. Actually, they're all back, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be good. Alrighty. So, on that note, let's wrap there, dude, for 366.
Alrighty.
Thank you for listening to episode 366. It's great to have you all here. If you're a newcomer to the Big Blue Box podcast, then welcome. It's great to have you listening. If you're a long-time listener, one of the grizzled ancients, then welcome back. It's been super duper to have you listen to us waffle on about Doctor Who. Some great bits in the news segment. Some really cool stuff happening production-wise. It must be so exciting for those guys at Bad Wolf right now.
Yeah.
Right now, they're in the office designing and making stuff and doing all the things for this new series before they start shooting. So what an exciting time for those people that are working on it. And then also the new companion, Millie Gibson, she's going to be our new companion for the 15th Doctor as Ruby Sunday, which is an interesting name. I'm sure that will grow on us. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, that was Torchwood, Miracle Day, End of the Road. Not too good on that one, but next week hopefully should be cool. Back to some modern era Doctor Who. The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So get your DVDs and Blu-rays or iPlayer fired up and give that a watch as we'll be asking for your thoughts as always. In the meantime, make sure you're following or subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast. That way you won't miss an episode when it lands every Friday. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. There are links on the website. Come and hang out and chat Doctor Who throughout the week. The website is bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can also listen to our stuff for free on there, and you can read all the cool articles and reviews from our writing team. We have a free Discord server as well. Link on the website. Hop in there and chat some Doctor Who with some other very cool Who fans. Also, don't forget to check out my co-host channel over on YouTube. It is The Geek's Handbag.
The Geek's Handbag. Yeah, go check out my YouTube channel. Got lots of Doctor Who vids on there, and I'm working on some new ones. Might do a little vlog on meeting Tennant and stuff if I get a chance. So yeah, go check out my channel. Also on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Go and check out all of Adam's stuff over on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All that stuff is under the same name, The Geek's Handbag. So go and do that. And also, make sure you get a cup of tea, though, when you check out his YouTube channel, because there's so many cool vids over there. So grab a cuppa, get comfy, and check out Adam's stuff. The Geek's Handbag.
That's it.
Alrighty, dude. Until next week, then, for episode 367. My name's Gary.
Mine is Adam.
And remember... Lottie.